The Sahara's scorching sands care little for reputation, and in July 2024, the town of Tinzaouaten became the graveyard for the prestige of Russia's battle-hardened Wagner group. A joint convoy of Malian forces and Wagner mercenaries, now rebranded as Africa Corps, set out to secure lucrative gold mines and smuggling routes near the Algerian border. But what began as a strategic offensive turned into a disaster. Ambushed by organized Tuareg rebel forces, backed by local fighters and the jihadist group Jainim, the convoy found itself trapped in a 3-day battle. Pinned down in a long-time Al-Qaeda stronghold, the convoy was overwhelmed. Over 50 Wagner mercenaries, including Commander Sergei Shevchenko, were killed, along with dozens of Malian soldiers. Even an unblocking attempt involving Russian attack helicopters couldn't save them. Wagner forces were systematically overrun, with none taken alive. 2 Russian survivors who ran out of ammunition were captured by the Tuareg rebels. This defeat dealt a crushing blow to Wagner's operations in the Sahel, proving that the bigger they come, the deeper they're buried in the Sahara's shifting sands. But who exactly are these mysterious Wagner slayers, the Tuareg, and how do they fit into the wider conflict in the Sahel, a region that's rapidly becoming a global hotspot yet remains dangerously overlooked? Let's dive into the role of the Tuareg and why this region is drawing attention from world powers.
Malian rebels killed 84 mercenaries fighting for the Russian Wagner group during recent clashes in the country, they claimed on August the 1st.
While a diplomatic source based in the region said hundreds were believed to be dead. An Al-Qaeda-linked group has claimed responsibility for Tuesday's attack on a military training school and a nearby airport.
Mali, situated in Africa's Sahel region, is a country with a rich history, famously home to the medieval Mali Empire, which thrived through its control over Saharan trade in the 13th and 14th centuries. At its peak, this multi-ethnic empire stretched across West Africa, including parts of modern-day Mali, Senegal, Guinea, and Niger. It was a center of trade, culture, and learning, producing about 50% of the world's gold. Cities like Timbuktu and Gao became major hubs for commerce and Islamic scholarship, transporting gold, salt, and slaves across the Sahara to North Africa. Mali's most famous ruler, Mansa Musa, made the empire legendary when his pilgrimage to Mecca in 1324 was so extravagant that it allegedly caused inflation in the regions he passed through. However, as European powers shifted African trade to seaborne routes, Mali's reliance on trans-Saharan trade led to its decline, marking the end of an era for this once great empire. The Tuareg, indigenous to the Sahara, are part of the larger Amazigh, Berber ethnic group and have played a significant role in the Sahel's history for centuries. The Tuareg number about 2 million, spread across Mali, Niger, Libya, Algeria, and Chad, with Mali's north home to nearly half of the Tuareg population. Known for their distinctive indigo veils, which earned them the nickname Blue Men of the Sahara, the Tuareg are nomadic and fiercely independent. Their mastery of desert trade routes made them key players in the trans-Saharan trade, even credited with founding Timbuktu, Mansa Musa's capital. Despite their unique culture, their nomadic nature has never seen them create their own independent state, and as a result, they have long resisted control from central government. After French colonization in the 19th century, European-imposed borders divided their homeland. Since Mali's independence in 1960, the Tuareg have staged multiple rebellions, seeking autonomy and recognition for their cultural identity. Their current demand for an independent state, Azawad, through the National Movement for the Liberation of Azawad, MNLA, which lies atop some of Africa's largest energy deposits, threatens regional stability and could ignite the largest conflict the Sahara has seen in a century. The 2015 Algiers peace agreement promised development for northern Mali but failed to deliver. By prioritizing Mali's national unity, it dismissed the Tuareg's fight for autonomy, treating them as just another part of the broader national community. This, along with a history of marginalization, pushed the Tuareg to continue their armed struggle. The lack of recognition for their rights and the government's broken promises had only deepened the conflict between the Tuareg and the Malian state. In 2011, after the fall of Libya's Gaddafi, Tuareg fighters returned to Mali with weapons and formed the National Movement for the Liberation of Azawad, MNLA, declaring independence in 2012. However, their secular vision clashed with Islamist forces, leading to the movement's collapse by 2013. The MNLA's failure didn't end the Tuareg's ambitions, but new radical groups have emerged in the region, complicating the landscape. Central Mali's Peul communities, facing their own grievances, have formed armed groups like the National Alliance for the Safeguarding of Peul Identity. These factions, alongside existing Tuareg and Islamist forces, have turned Mali into a powder keg of competing interests, with jihadist groups, including a local ISIS brand, exploiting power vacuums. France, with its economic interests in Niger's uranium, and the US, through programs like the Trans-Sahara Counter-Terrorism Partnership, have maintained a strong military presence in the Sahel, while Sahel governments like Mali that are increasingly anti-Western have brought in Russia to help stabilize the situation in their countries. But critics argue that these interventions prioritize foreign interests over solving the root causes of instability. By late 2023 and early 2024, Tuareg rebels reformed under the CSP-DPA, Cadre Stratégique Permanent pour la Défense du Peuple de l'Azawad, and began reaching out to international actors, with Ukraine emerging as a surprising ally. Ukraine, engaged in its war against Russia, saw an opportunity to weaken Russian influence abroad and provided limited support to the rebels, including financial aid, medical training, and mini-drone training. While Ukraine's involvement was not decisive in the July 2024 battle near Tinzaouaten, it marked the first time Kiev publicly acknowledged supporting the CSP-DPA. This helped the Tuareg forces win a major victory against the Wagner group, but it also fueled Malian military claims that the rebels and jihadists were aligned as foreign-backed terrorists. The Ukrainian military intelligence spokesperson, Andriy Yusov, confirmed that necessary information had been provided to the rebels, leading to a successful operation, although he did not specify whether Ukrainian personnel were directly involved. Rumors now also abound that Tuareg arsenals are becoming increasingly extensive, with advanced drones now added to their armories. Given the Sahel's position at the center of global arms trafficking, access to weaponry is easy. Tinzaouaten marked a turning point in Wagner's operations in the region, revealing their struggles to hold territory despite tactical victories. The aftermath also highlighted the precarious relationship between the Tuareg rebels and JNIM, while CSP-DPA forces were central to the heaviest fighting. They denied direct collaboration with the jihadists, attempting to distance themselves from Al-Qaeda's influence. The tactical coordination between Tuareg rebels and jihadists, last seen in 2012 when they teamed up to seize northern Mali, reveals an uneasy alliance of convenience, united against a common enemy despite their differences. Wagner's crushing defeat in Tinzaouaten came as chaos accelerated across the Sahel, fueled by the 2023 withdrawal of UN peacekeepers. While Fama and Wagner forces initially had some success, Wagner's performance has been mixed since deploying over 1,000 mercenaries across 15 bases. They retook parts of northern Mali, but struggled against expanding jihadist groups like JNIM. The region's instability surged, with over 7,800 civilian deaths in just 7 months of 2023. Likewise, the conflict is also destroying the region's cultural heritage. The 2013 destruction of historic Sufi mausoleum, including those of medieval Sufi saints, along with parts of the Ahmed Baba Institute, where over 4,000 priceless manuscripts were burned. Despite efforts to smuggle and digitize many of these treasures, the region's rich cultural heritage remains at serious risk from continued violence and unrest. In less than 3 years, Wagner's losses in the Sahel are approaching those of French and US forces since 2013, with 58 French soldiers and 4 US Green Berets killed during years of counter-terrorism operations. Wagner's growing death toll isn't a sign of sacrifice, but rather military inefficiency. While they've scored victories against weaker Tuareg rebel groups, their mixed success against jihadist forces highlights their limitation. But when have heavy human losses ever deterred Moscow from trying to reach its goals? Russia's presence in Africa isn't going anywhere anytime soon. Much like in Syria, Moscow is using Wagner mercenaries to secure its influence through resource extraction and military deals. Since entering the Sahel, Wagner has shifted its focus to securing key assets like gold mines. However, their operations have become increasingly risky too, as seen with the capture of Russian geologists by JNIM in Niger. The conflict in the Sahel has become a tangled web where local struggle for independence, global superpower rivalries, and the fight against terrorism all collide. The Tuareg rebels' long-standing fight for autonomy is now intertwined with the broader war on terror as jihadist factions exploit the chaos to expand their influence. Meanwhile, local governments shift away from Western powers and towards Russia and China, seen in the increasing presence of Wagner mercenaries and Chinese economic interests, adds another layer of complexity. Even the Russo-Ukrainian war has found its way into the Sahel, as Ukraine quietly trains Tuareg rebels to slay Wagnerites. Military solutions dominate the landscape. Governance, development, and addressing local grievances have taken a back seat, leaving the region in a dangerous cycle of violence and instability. As great power politics continue to deepen the divides, the question remains: can the Sahel ever find stability amid the competing threats of local actors and global powers? Or will this ongoing militarization only push the region further into chaos?